Face the meat, the freshness of a new day with gratitude. Tomorrow, you know, there will be fresh faces, meat, and bamboo. Thank you.
Yay, thank you, Amy. I didn't want to stop hearing your poems. It's such a treat to hear them. Okay. Next up, we have Ricardo Ruiz. Son of Mexican immigrants. Okay, Ricardo Ruiz, son of Mexican immigrants, is the acclaimed author of We Had Our Reasons, debuting at #1 on Amazon's Hispanic American Poetry Chart and winner of the 2023 Washington State Book Award for Poetry. He passionately uplifts marginalized voices through his writing. And an answer to the question, which musical icon would you have a picnic with at the beach? Ricardo says, imagine this. You're on the beach playing a friendly game of volleyball, and up comes strolling a man clad in purple velvet with ruffles adorning his collar and cuffs. In tow is the revolution. Out of his mouth comes, we got next, and your team gets demolished. He sits down on a beach towel and proceeds to bask in the glory of his victory. Ricardo is inviting Prince and the Revolution. Hopefully, Rick James and Charlie Murphy show up to mess with him. Let's give it up for Ricardo.
Please go by tonight and enjoy that classic Dave Chappelle skit. If you don't know what it is, YouTube's a beautiful thing. Only one of these poems I've ever read out before. Everything else is some new shit that were accepted into the Talking River Review recently. So if you want to read them in print, you can pick that up next month. And then the last two are works in progress that I just want to see and feel. Amy, shout out to you for that badass little reading. And I'm following your note on this one with a little poem about language. Don't speak Spanish to my puppy. My niece tells my mom, don't speak Spanish to my puppy at the barriada. Will the brown lab feel it at the dog park? Will the rhyme rhymer and golden doodles exclude him from their game of chase? Or will he be included only as the one they chase and bite? Can he find community with the Chihuahuas and Soloquintes? Do dogs discover the dialect in your bark? How we respond to then overcome? I get it, Firulais. Being separated, sent to a classroom with other brown dogs. I mean kids. I mean dogs who don't speak English. But dog, you still have a new Patagonia blanket to wear, and they will surely recognize that you live in the house on the hill eating raw, organic meal, your lunch never beans and rice packed in a country crock butter container. Mi sobrinita, a paring knife and a stalk of asparagus and climbing a ladder at 4 a.m. to pick cherries before the day got too hot to work, made sure of all of that. But she can't speak to your puppy in Espanol. You smile when you ask her to make barbacoa next weekend, or how you ask her to make tamales when your school's having a bake sale. Do you know she prayed for this future with her language, con sus manos juntos? Believe it when she tells us, puedes hacer lo que quieres, then repeats it in English to ensure we understood. Where is home, the motherland, or here? A first-gen question. My mom's glasses live on the vanity where she changes into them in the morning after work. By evening, they've migrated to the kitchen. I have yet to see her put them there, though they always return. I moved them back to the vanity for her, and tomorrow they'll migrate once again. I know she has been here, our interaction captured by the life we leave each other in this tiny space. All right, Mexican dads don't say, I love you. They really don't, though. The dirt from beneath his foot puffs, propelling him forward. His eyes dart from ball to dad to ball, standing ready with knees bent, arms spread. His father is a smiling obelisk. Ever closer his son comes, kicking con todo those little legs have before it impacts El Portero. The ball next sails wide right. He has yet to learn to look past or through his dad, only seeing the man in front of him. The father scuffs the boy's hair and sends him after the ball. This poem, to be culturally correct, should be called Tíralo otra vez, pendejo, but for real, that's too real. This is a fun little mirror poem I was playing with, so yeah. Reads better than I. It reads better than I read, but maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, first time I'm doing this one with these, so. A morning view on a ladder in the orchard. Brown roots exposed and curled along the cliff's edge grip stones below the hollow trunk where life only resides within the pitted recesses of lacerations. A remnant of feeble fowls the copper hawk invited in for a morning meal. The whistling from the morning dove awakens from within bloodlust for the hungry predator who has found its prey. Strangling separates air from lungs, never to fill. Strangling separates air from lungs, never to fill. Blood lust for the hungry predator who has found its prey. The whistling from the morning dove awakens from within. The copper hawk invited in for a morning meal of lacerations. A remnant of feeble fowls only resides within the pitted recesses below the hollow trunk where life alone along the cliff's edge grips stones, brown roots exposed and curled. All right. These last two, the mood changes a little bit, topic changes a little bit, so yeah. Ars Poetica of Attention Pneumothorax. A bullet wound, the chest recoils, shock waves ripple through flesh and bone. A body's betrayal etched deep with lead as breath falters and blood whispers lost. The chest, a battlefield, caves slightly. Through pain and loss of consciousness, the first thing that is mentioned is my dick still there, doc? Gulps of blood fill the esophagus, yet reproduction is still the focus for what is life when all dies and no growth is possible, be it one's own or that of a progeny or the offspring of the thought. Yet poised in crisis, skilled hands converge, fingers trace urgent past beneath skin's parlor, seeking the rhythm lost within a rib's cage confines, to free the breath trapped in a lung's collapse with a needle 16 gauge beacon of hope. They carve an escape for a suffocating heart, jolting the still silence with a breath's resurgence. Now the defibrillator, charged with purpose, waits its promise of rhythm set against the stillness. Here the needle transmutes into a pen, its ink flowing like oxygen into blood. Each word is a heartbeat, each line a breath, a symphony composed in the silence of recovery. Verse pumping vitality into vacant chambers, awakening the poet's dormant muse. In the soft glow of rebirth. Under a single bulb steadfast watch, a surgeon's poet's hands weave the sutures of verse, no longer tearing at the fabric of the self for art, but embroidering a tapestry of renewed existence where each stitch is a word, each knot a conviction, and the poem arises whole from ash left of the rubble of a destroyed village. All right, my last one. Veteran on the number 7 bus. Event 1. As I get ready to leave the house, I grab my pistol, eject the magazine, press down on the rounds. It's full. Lock the slide to the rear, reinsert the magazine, release the slide, weapon and battery. The words spill out. Years of repetition forge this innate programmed action. 12 rounds, not enough. I eject the magazine, press the next bullet down, reinsert, repeating my warrior chant. I remind myself one extra bullet can make the difference in a firefight. I holster the Glock. The holster tucked snugly between my navel and hip bone secures my Glock. On the bus, I see each heavy step betrays a man's anger as he approaches the bus driver, holding his white plastic bag like a shield. He challenges the driver over the mask mandate. No longer wants to be covered up, looked over unseen. He snatches a mask with his shouts, cutting through the haze of his drug-induced delirium, aimed at the bus driver, at authority, or perhaps at the phantoms of his own mind. Memories of my own endless days spinning the high, the inevitable clash flooding back. I feel the force of his chase for the next high in his seat. He turns to stone, hyper-aware yet hollow. After 2 stops, he stands, moves forward, and erupts once more at the driver, revealing his concealed weapon, aimed first at the driver, then at me. Years of training kick in. I pull my pistol, fire 3 rounds into the man. Event 2. I hurry towards my first day volunteering at the Latino Community Center. Last night, like many before, was sleepless, haunted by dreams of faces locked away at the end of the world where my sweat-soaked sheets begin. Struggle with my shoelaces, forget my morning meds. An app alerts me the bus is 2 minutes away. Opt not to carry my pistol today. I spend a few hours disarmed, an intermittent fasting for the warrior within. On the bus, I see each heavy step betrays a man's anger as he approaches the bus driver, holding the white plastic bag like his shield. He challenges the driver over the mask mandate. No longer wants to be covered up, looked over unseen. He snatches a mask, his shouts cutting through the haze of his drug-induced delirium, aimed at the bus driver, at authority, or perhaps at the phantoms of his own mind. Memories of my own endless spinning days high, the inevitable clash flooding back. I feel the force of his chase for the next high in his seat. He turns to stone, hyper-aware yet hollow. After 2 stops, he stands, moves forward, and erupts once more at the driver, revealing his concealed weapon, aimed first at the driver, then at me. And as I flinch, he fires, landing 3 rounds in me. Event 3. I wake to the melody of the bluebird perched outside my window. Today, I give my hours to La Raza, to those freshly starting their journey here. Eggs over medium, crisp bacon on the side, and waffles, all accompanied by strong black coffee. No haste, no fret. On the bus, I see each heavy steps betray a man's anger as he approaches the bus driver, holding the white plastic bag like a shield. He challenges the driver over the mask mandate, no longer wants to be covered up, looked over unseen. He snatches a mask, his shouts cutting through the haze of the drug-induced delirium, aimed at the bus driver, at authority, or perhaps at the phantoms of his own mind. Memories of my own endless days spinning, the high, the inevitable crash flooding back. I feel the force of his chase for the next high. In his seat, he turns to stone, hyper-aware yet hollow. After 2 stops, he stands, moves forwards, erupts once more at the driver, revealing his concealed weapon, aimed first at the driver, then at me. The man thrusts his weapon into his pocket, clutches his head, and unleashes a guttural scream. He steps off the bus into his uncertain day. In the stillness, I'm immobilized, the warrior within ensnared in the shame of inaction. For 3 long months, I remain confined to my bed, my body a temple of silent mourning. The world moves on outside, but inside I am motionless, a statue carved from regret and lost chances. In any event, the screams fade, yet the echoes of agony intertwine with heavy prayers. They always cast pall over the morning light. I yearn for peace and nonviolence. It is the very wish for tranquility that paralyzes, the warrior's dilemma, the peacemaker's chains. All these events are real. In all these events, I don't make it out. In all these events, I don't make it out. In all these events, no one makes it out.
Thank you, Ricardo. And just sitting with it, I'm going to take a deep breath because I feel like we went to so many places emotionally. You can take a deep breath if you need to. Excited about your new work and keep an eye out for it in print. That's exciting. Okay, our next reader tonight is Ann Teplick. Ann Teplick is a poet, playwright, and prose writer with an MFA in creative writing from Vermont College of Fine Arts. For many years, she's been a teaching artist in Seattle Public Schools, Hugo House, Coyote Central, and Pongo Teen Writing. At King County Juvenile Detention and the Washington State Psychiatric Hospital. She has received funding from Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, For Culture, Artist Trust, and the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. She is also a Hedgebrook and Jack Straw alumna. In answer to the question, which musical icon would you have a picnic with at the beach, Anne says that she is definitely inviting B.B. King and his guitar Lucille because their blues, hot lava's her blood. Let's give it up for Anne.
Hi, everyone who's here and everyone who is online. It's raining, or it was raining. My papers are wet and the text has smeared, but I think I'll do okay. Okay. Don't make me I'm going to read a short poem, and I'm going to read a short piece of a scene from my young adult novel. Here's the poem. Oh, and then I'm going to show you something from Seattle Children's Hospital. Sierra Nelson and I worked there through WITS, and I'm excited to show you this. So all year I've been taking Sierra Nelson's Moon class, and it's so good, and if she offers it again, all of you take. She's amazing. So this poem came out of her Moon class. I'm fishing for my mother. She used to be a mermaid who carried a disco ball, glittered with sorrow, wanted to dance, but was born with one fin twisted. Once, she dove from a freighter off the coast of Jamaica when she spotted the ghost of her lover tethered to moon-soaked waves. Once, she scarred her heart on a coral reef in Tahiti, bruised it Tangelo, and rode a moon turtle to shore. Mom, you snored the night you died. I pretended in the morning we'd feast on sardines, like the Sundays when I was little, how you'd crack the tab, curl back the cradle's tin roof to those little rows of baby fish, how you'd sing good morning, pull them by their tails, one by one, wiggle them into your mouth. How now you've disappeared again before I had a chance to say goodbye, though now your fins untwisted, though now the gibbous kiss. So this is a little bit of a scene from a young adult novel, What You Need to Know. My protagonist, Natalie, is 16. She's just come home 3 hours past her curfew, and her father's name is Doc. Yep. I studied my father standing there, wearing the crown made of tin foil and black question marks, sharpied all over. One of the many he made to express his feelings. I called this one the question crown, which he insisted I address by its birth name, contemplative. I guessed that contemplating involved questioning. I told him contemplative was good. The state of the universe, the state of the planet, the state of the human brain, just don't waste it on her. Which returned his boom to full boil, bounced the silver fillings from my molars, rattled my tonsils, and by some cross-eyed route, landed me in the Tropic of Pain. His saying how it was okay to look inside ourselves, to examine where we hurt, which made me want to wring his ears because pain was my specialty. He ended with the brilliance, "She will always be your mother," which made me want to bite the wall. For the past 6 weeks, I have had no mother. She is not my mother and will never be my mother again. How many times do I have to tell him that? Maybe 47, because that's how old she is. To the 16th power, because that's how old I am. But Doc chose not to hear it. "I need you to trust me," I said. "Trust at 2:30 a.m.? That's not how the world works, Natalie." He burst into his pacing routine, medium strides, medium slow, in this less than medium room, a ritual when his world became a little too sticky and nothing could ungum it. The night your mother took off, you hopped a train and disappeared. It took me 12 days, 12 ulcers, 12 migraines, and 2 detectives, one a numbskull, to track you down clear across the country in a seedy apartment with a room full of deadheads. "But that was then," I said. "Could you pass me the instruction manual, please?" I found that question funny, and Doc being oblivious to his humor, I wondered what the manual would say. What do you do when your daughter climbs out the window to meet who knows who? And what do you do when your daughter shuffles in the house stinking of Jim Beam? And what do you do when your daughter stops brushing her teeth, brushing her hair, and sleeping? What do you do when you're suddenly a single parent full-time? He raised his voice again. Your mother would have called in the army. She would have known what to do. She doesn't know the first thing about a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 4-year-old. She's the one who skipped out on us. What is wrong with you? You are not in charge here, young lady. In charge? I wish someone was in charge. My mother gave it the old 1-2 before she cut out. Since then, my father mimics the motions, but he never really cuts it. I'm cut to be in charge of myself, but my father doesn't get it. There's no way I'll be in charge of him, though I think he sometimes needs it. So it's a little game. Doc playing gruff, trying to keep the armor up, slipping, always slipping. Thank you. Anyway, here's the real news. Here's the real news of the night. Sierra Nelson and I have been at Children's 13 years, 14 years, and every year we put together a portfolio of broadsides, 10 of her students, 10 of mine. This is like hot off the press from Saturday. And it's hard to choose the poems, and we work with printers in press, P&P, partners in print, yes, not printers in press. I thought I'd read one or two, because I'm in love. This is a 7-year-old. How my heart feels. When I'm happy, my heart is as big as a star. It feels as great as riding a roller coaster. When I'm sad, my heart shrinks to the size of a peanut. When I'm silly, my heart is as big as the sun. When I'm calm, my heart is like a statue just standing there. When my heart hurts, it's as heavy as a megalodon shark. It breaks into 1,000 pieces. When my heart is hopeful, it's as hot as the sun and as big as a black hole. When my heart is afraid, it beats as fast as hummingbird wings. When my heart feels proud, it's often when I ace a math test. One more. It's called Chemo, 9-year-old. Chemo makes me feel scared. Like there's a demon outside and an angel inside. Sometimes with chemo, I feel nauseous. When I take medication, it helps. With chemo, good things come with the bad, and bad things come with the good. With chemo, when I'm having a hard time, my mom helps me by just being there. With chemo, Galaxy Slime helps to take my mind off the treatment. I love that one. With chemo, whoever helps me comes in my room in that way, always helps me. And I wish my treatment was over. Thank you so much. You know what? I'll keep some of them up here. Feel free to just browse up and check them out. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Anne. It was lovely to hear your work and your students' work, so thanks for sharing. We have 2 readers left tonight. Up next is Ann Kober. Ann Kober is an Ethiopian first-gen, fortunate to be born in Seattle and creatively raised by the Seattle hip-hop scene at the height of its renaissance. Surrounded by a milieu of ingenious, burgeoning artist groups from Hella Dope to The Satisfaction, it was hip-hop and the Hidmo which cultivated her pedagogy for community and critical race theory, while grounding her in the ultimate tenet of the art form, being true to oneself. A legacy student of Bennett College for Women in Greensboro, North Carolina, she studied nonfiction writing while pursuing a self-designed major in womanist spiritual quest, melding her love for Plato's Republic with Natsake Shange's For Colored Girls Who Consider Suicide When the Rainbow is Enough. Previous apprentice roles include a monastic apprenticeship in the Garifuna-populated region of Honduras, where, while living in a Quaker nunnery, she surveyed and studied the intersections of writing and spirituality. Ann Kober believes writing in its highest form is a prayer, and as Paulo Freire once said, there is, in fact, no teaching without learning. You can find her 11-year-old poetry blog at annkober.wordpress.com and her essays on medium.com. And Ann Kober would picnic at the beach with Elvis Presley because she loves his music so much. Give it up for Ann Kober.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. I grew up having WITS teachers in my high schools. In fact, Matt Gano was the teacher in residence when I went to the center school for poetry. So I just am really humbled to be able to apprentice in this program. So this might sound strange, but I really want to read the Beatitudes first. I guess it's called the Sermon on the Mount, I think. I just feel like there's a lot going on right now in the world. And I just want to read this really before to bless the room. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. When I sourced my faith from flint vagaries, placed this destitute wound on the mantle of fornication and seclusion, the dust hung over the air, and I mastered my laundered heart, a body humanly trafficked through some broken boulevard, and lo, a vehicle, nay, a temple housed from sackcloth and ashes and clay. You're tormenting this young woman who only has this God of hers, sourced faith. I seen her dust off her laundered rib bone. How many men do you know? Where dreams go to disappear. Alleluia, what are your patterns? That's the first poem. It's untitled. I know a place. Oh, actually, psych, I want to read a different poem first. I'm sorry, 1 second. One moment. Yeah, that's a great word. You can spell it a number of ways. It was so hard, wasn't it? Culling daisies out of your hair when your mind was mangled with roots. Your ends needed a trimming. And instead, you just serenaded the softest parts of you until they abandoned you too. No one can tell you how to love yourself. That's the secret. And I love how honest you are, how even curses blossom into blessings grave enough to make an entire nation reign for days on end. When you got delivered for the umpteenth time, you're no demoniac, but you know about oppression. That prophetess told you to watch your mouth, watch what comes out of it. The power of life and death is in the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Prophetess, do you love your life? It's the singular question. If the answer is yes, then all is redeemable. And if the answer is no, I'm afraid nothing can save you. So did it hurt when you culled out the major dilemmas between straw and strand? You were no slave, just misled with too much time on your hands, and Jesus met you on your face in the center of a chapel. Do you remember how your grievances became the most gorgeous form of worship? Could this be love too? Could this suffice for now? Look up. The tears have dried. Salt lines the holes in your skin. Cassidy, I can't tell you enough times how unreal you are, how you make everything around you grow, like your inheritance is something of an alchemical sleight of hand. I wish I could shake hands with your great-great-great-grandmother because I want to look into the eyes of those who loved you into becoming. Your existence is a prayer doused in hope, and your story is rare because it's the most beautiful when recited retrospectively. I'm happy I met you now, that God saw it fit for me to be well enough to have met you now, and how unwell I am, but when I'm with you, I believe I'm healed. That wholeness could one day be my inheritance too, that it already is. Look at how beautiful you are. Look how miraculous your mind is. Every thought of yours creates something out of nothing. Your footsteps create indents of audacity, and your exhalations echo back a constellation of stars into this universe. That's how big you are. I know a place where words have no meaning, and the rest assured shore up on time by moving slower than a colored person's clock. Crisscross applesauce, his eyes on the sparrow, and your skin is overcome with goosebumps you mistake for a gust of wind. Only it wasn't. You were touched by a spirit that has numbered your days, the hairs on your head, has given you peace beyond human comprehension, and so it goes. This is how it always goes. When the master, your teacher, your friend and father, the only opinion that ever mattered, fills every void and promises to everything unanswered, as you swear to your hurt, my child, I'm running to cradle your face between my hands as I've done for your relatives before you. They did not die. They've been given life eternal. My child, the secret is that no one can annihilate your soul. You are a spiral that thought she was only a cycle, preposterous. Shout, sing, merry songs to the divine one, to the one who knows the end from the beginning. You are a book. Thank you.
Thank you, and Cobra, that was so beautiful. We have our last reader for the evening, Aka. And, here we go. Aka is a trans poet, educator, and practitioner of abolitionist values and care work through daily actions and play. They facilitate creative interdependence through art and outdoor time, since transitioning from able-bodied to, quote, no longer living that illusion. They live into the queer disabled POC legacies of ferocity through tenderness, believe crying is a vital technology, and have deep reverence for rest. They bring authenticity, adaptability, and responsibility to unwinding our collective bodies into something more free. Our capacity to heal is not in question. It is only the matter of remembering how together. And so they write. And Aka, if you care to share with the audience which musical icon you would have a picnic at the beach with, you may. Okay. Yeah. Let's all go to the beach and play volleyball and catch Prince.
Oh no. Wow. These lights make me look short, okay? It's an illusion. I'm not actually short. It's the lights. 7 feet tall, exactly. All right. Just a few poems. I appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to thank my ancestors for the poems. I'm going to thank your ancestors for you being here. All right. You can pray from any position. Little do you realize how much of a force we are. Not the kind that topples trees or fells mountains to make our paths or our points. We are the water beneath the mountain, sharing life below, slowly lapping at the dams until they crack. until they falter, freeing fish and silt, turning decay into life. Or rather, decay already does that. We simply honor the value of decay. We do not shun or shame it. What is a body of poetry other than a trans body? All right. I don't know if you know who Polly Murray is, but you need to look up Polly Murray. Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you. Save a ghost, write a letter. Dear Polly Murray, how does someone transform rancor to love? Is standing firm without rancor a form of prayer, or did the rancor mestatize somewhere else in our lineages or in our bodies? And if I already know the answer to these questions, what do you mix your bitters with so your bones are not brittle? And what labors do you do so your love can be languid and not languish? Sincerely, me. P.S. Polly Murray, thank you for busting the church's balls about binaries. I appreciate it. All right. How is okay. Microphone is here. All right. How is trans divinity so safe and powerful? Because divinity in this magnitude is addressed and dressed daily. This is not a divinity made for self-loathing, not truly. We are not made for self-hatred or suffering, or forever not enoughness. This is not a divinity of entering wrong to suffer abuses and lies, or that our deaths are vital to uphold systems. Feel it with me, everybody. And yet don't matter. As if anyone can evacuate the creator from your flesh. This divinity is not a singular one, a year grand gesture of silence or remembrance. Grand gestures are setting a plate out, scrubbing the cast iron, or sewing. We bind the books of ourselves together, and we course it to let the courage spill out and overflow. This is a cool fact, though, you all. Did you know that cleave means to split and to bring together? So if you breathe, you have cleave. Remember that one. Divinity in this magnitude is dressed daily. My features change, my height, my hair, my face. I know recognition is in my head, and home, home is this body, which is another word for journey. I forgot my handkerchief. Okay. This magnitude of divinity is addressed and dressed daily. I am not here to settle, nor to steal, so my address changes daily. Because I know the recognition of the state will kill me before it nourishes me. Rapture says be conditioned to wait and be struck down. Rupture says be creative in your moment and look for the space between. And when the rapturable are just a pile of clothing, stitch something anew from what is left behind and make your coat of many colors. Divinity of this magnitude is addressed and dressed daily. I want capital ableism to know that I see who makes the table, who's under it, and who glued it, and who slides the dishes across its worn and brown surface. Divinity of this magnitude is addressed and dressed daily. I take potentials. I accept tugs on the tablecloth, and I eat on the floor sometimes. There are whispers when I retrieve dropped utensils, and I see beneath the veil, and eyes peer back. Divinity of this magnitude is addressed daily. We've adapted much longer than you have. Join us or don't. But do not think a divinity of static straight lines has ever lived. And we'll just close it there so I can know it.
Thank you, Aka. It's beautiful to hear works in progress by all these WITS writers, and it's, I think, a loving space to share fresh work. And yeah, I feel like giving myself a little hug, so if anyone wants to give themselves a little hug. We're gonna move into the next part of the evening, but before we do, which is karaoke, I encourage people to let readers know if things resonated with you, connect with each other, and yeah, thank you for coming out. And I don't know that we may have more announcements or things, but thank you. Yeah.
To me